Hi, this is the chapter summary and discussion for To Kill a Mockingbird chapters 20 and 21. So in chapter 20, we meet Mr. Adolphus Raymond. He is a white man who has a black wife, and he tells the children that he pretends to be drunk to give white people an explanation of his lifestyle when in fact he simply prefers black people's lives to white people's lives. And so this is a really concerning issue with internal versus external. And so I want you to think about a brown paper bag. And let's say that you decorate the outside of the paper bag with what people know you as. And then on the inside of the paper bag, you put items that necessarily people wouldn't know about you because you hold it in. And so Mr. Raymond here, he is a good example of that. Is we don't sometimes know what's on the outside versus the inside. And so the fact that he carries in his actual brown paper bag Coca-Cola, a bottle of Coca-Cola, instead of liquor, which is what he pretends to act drunk on all the time, it's covering up who he really is, because he's actually sober, but he pretends to be drunk. And so what does that say about the society that he lives in? Yeah, I know, it's pretty messed up. But it gets you to question the external versus internal aspects of characters. And so then when Dill and Scout, they return to the courtroom, Atticus is making his final remarks. He has gone over the evidence and now makes a personal appeal to the jury. He says there has been no medical evidence of the crime and there are unreliable witnesses. Furthermore, he says that the physical evidence suggests that Bob Ewell beat Mayella, and it was not Tom. He says that Mayella lusted after a black man, and then he hid her shame by accusing him of rape after being caught. Atticus begs the jury not to believe that all black people are criminals and to deliver justice by freeing Tom Robinson. And Atticus says, gentlemen, do your duty. So like when you think about a courtroom and the jury is actually the group that makes the decision. Is this person guilty or not guilty? And so that's kind of scary to think that your life would be in this jury's hands. And so here he tells them, do your duty. Like there have been a lot of other court cases that have gone on, but you know what? You need to do the right thing. If you look on page 274 and 275, on page 274, Atticus says, but there is one way in this country in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes a pauper the equal of a Rockefeller, the stupid man the equal of an Einstein, and the ignorant man the equal of any college president. That institution, gentlemen, is a court. It can be the Supreme Court of the United States or the humblest JP court in the land or this honorable court which you serve. Our courts have their faults, as does any human institution, but in this country, our courts are the great levelers. And in our courts, all men are created equal. So again, I know some of my classes I asked you, are all men treated equally in the courtroom? And this is a prime example. So Atticus says here that out of any place for men to be created equal and treated equally, it should be the courtroom. So by God, gentlemen, he says, do your duty. You got one job, do it the right way, okay? And so that's how chapter 21 ends. And then we move into chapter 20. Then we move into chapter 21, and Calpurnia has come into the courtroom. She hands Atticus a note telling him that the children haven't been home since noon. And then they learn that the children are sitting in the colored section of the balcony, and he tells them to go home. Atticus tells the kids that they can return after supper, but the jury may be back before then. And then Calpurnia takes Jim, Scout, and Dill home. They eat quickly, and then they return because they do not want to miss anything. Jim is confident of victory while Dill is falling asleep. And then we find out that they have delivered a guilty verdict. And so the courtroom begins to empty. And as Atticus goes out, everyone in the colored balcony rises in a gesture of respect. And so it's in this moment where Jim finally learns how cruel the world is, that Tom Robinson is really not guilty and he's been accused of something he did not do. And so Jim here is hurt, Scout is hurt. And then I love the end of this chapter where everyone, the black balcony rises out of respect for Atticus, because that just shows you that he did the right thing no matter what other people were thinking. And so in this, Scout ends this chapter on page 275 with standing up for her father. And literally we have this idea of standing up for what you believe in, and then, you know, standing for respect. And so I want you to think about it in that context.